Okay, I was just going to say, we had another team that was supposed to join us today. Unfortunately, they're not going to be able to join us. Something happened. But I still wanted to take the time to kind of sharpen our skill sets and our skills, especially before we hop on the phone. So, is there anything in particular that you guys want to go over or work on or anything like that?
I got one that I think we all can work on. And it's an objection we hear a lot. I'm going to wait for the market to crash, and then also interest rates. I think those are two that we're most likely going to get those objections when we call today or any day. So I think those would be two that we can kind of go back over again, if you guys are okay with it.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say someone said the market was going to crash. Andre, currently, what are you kind of saying to bridge that gap?
Hey, Jordan, I definitely hear what you're saying. Now, let me ask you this. How long have you been waiting for the market to crash? 2 years? Okay, Jordan, the reason why I asked that is because if you would have bought a home 2 years ago, you'd actually have about 15 to 20% equity in your home. So my question is how much longer are you going to want to wait before you can take advantage of an opportunity like that?
I like it. Any feedback, George, Andrea?
I think it's really good. Yeah, just start off with a good question. Pretty much just open them up and give you a little info, and he pretty much got them. Once they most likely tell you that they've been waiting a year or two, that's it. Just give them a little equity thing, and
it's not being a dick either. It's hard, right?
It's not,
because you might feel like you're being an ass when you're like telling them like, oh well, hey dipshit, you waited 2 years. It's not that we're doing that, right? But we could feel that way. But it's just like giving them. You're basically just fighting their objection with facts, and so you're just saying like, hey, like, who wouldn't take advantage of an opportunity like that when you kind of spell it out that way? Jordan, what I know you have an objection. Not like this one, but I think you have a similar objection.
For the markets, for waiting for the market to crash, I pretty much use the same approach that you do. That's pretty much my spill. I don't think there's much else that you could really do to dance around that. So why don't we move on to...
what I was thinking? Sorry, I didn't mean to butt in.
No, go ahead.
Because I thought Andre did a really good job on that. But for a sensitive person, I'm thinking maybe if we phrase it in a way that says many people are waiting for that to crash, but they could have had their home instead of directing it to that specific person, it might make a lighter feel. Because then they won't feel like you're attacking them, perhaps. Or maybe that's not strong enough. I don't know.
Yeah, I would be so we want to be able to guide them, right? And, sometimes people need to hear the facts, right? Okay. Sometimes people need to hear how it is. Just like, a parent coming in parent-teacher conference, if their kid is an absolute terror at school, but is acting like a perfect angel at home, it's only fair to them to really let them know how their kid is, right?
Yeah, and that's what I do. I guess because I'm a little more inexperienced, I'm still not laying it on the line yet.
yeah, it's hard, right? It's definitely hard. But what I find is, right, if someone takes offense to that, that's probably someone you don't want to work with. That's probably someone who's going to be very, very hard to work with.
Okay.
If they're like that parent, right, it might be tough for them to hear that their parent is or their kid is getting in trouble and things of that nature. But if they're realistic parents, they're going to be able to correct that behavior, right? Mm-hmm. And same thing with these buyers. We want them to be able to correct that behavior because it's not doing them any good.
Okay.
So a great point to bring up, though, Andrea. Like I said, there's no right and wrong way to do it, and you can go a little bit more passive. But what I find is people like a good, strong agent, someone who's going to be able to guide them in the right direction. Okay. And so the more clear your message is and maybe not dancing around it, play with both. See what works best for you.
Okay.
Would be my recommendation.
Okay.
All right, Andre, you brought up interest rates. You got anything for us when it comes to the interest rates?
Yeah. So, hey, George, I hear what you're saying, but to be honest, what most buyers are concerned with is the monthly payment. So if we're able to find you a home with a monthly payment you're comfortable with, would that kind of change things as far as pursuing the home buying process goes for you?
No.
Okay. Well, hey, George, I completely understand. Was there anything else outside of the interest rates that really has you concerned?
Well, we know that the market's really competitive right now, and if we were to sell, we would want to find a replacement property first. And with the interest rates being at 7, it just doesn't make sense for us. Even if the monthly payment did seem affordable, um, even then, it's just we're hearing it's very difficult to get an offer in nowadays.
Okay, so just kind of help me understand, George, a little bit. So, are you more concerned with the interest rates, or are you more concerned with not getting an accepted offer on a replacement property?
We think it's both. We just think it's a very tough time to get a place. Even if we did get a place, it's just the rates are ridiculous. I don't think it makes sense for us. We're going to sit on it for a while.
Okay, well, George, let me ask you this. What makes sense to you? What's going to make the most sense for you guys? If you were to hypothetically, let's say we find you a property, obviously we can't control the interest rates, but kind of help me understand what makes most sense to you guys so I can better help you as far as, this process goes for you.
Well, we were hoping to sell this home, get the equity out of it, and then move into the new place. Ideally, we would like to downsize, want to stay local. But it's just the rates are a big turnoff for us. Maybe later if they drop somewhere down to 5 would be manageable for us. So I think once it hits 5, then we would want to pull the trigger.
No, I hear you. And, one thing I will tell you is once the rates do go down to 5 with, the lack of inventory that we have right now, it's going to definitely be even tougher, for you on the sell side or on the buy side, I should say. And with us going into an election year next year, George, what I found is, interest rates are going to go down. The real estate market is cyclical. So I think you'll be able to get that interest rate down the road. But right now, obviously we can't predict where the market's going to be in 6 months, a year from now. We definitely can capitalize on your equity with the multiple offer situations that we see can really get you a bang for your buck. And if we find you a home that you can downsize to that does fit the monthly payment, I think that, down the road, we'll be able to get that interest rate a little bit more favorable to you. How does that sound, man?
It sounds pretty reasonable.
Okay. So I'm looking at my schedule. Definitely like to sit down with you guys to see what it looks like on the sell side, kind of help you guys figure out, what we need to do to get your house, the most exposure and the most bang for your buck. And then we can kind of discuss what you're looking for on the purchase side and lay out the options and kind of see what makes most sense to you guys.
Yeah. Again, we're not looking to sell anytime soon. We've had a terrible experience this last time, and we don't want to go through that again.
So when you say terrible experience, George, and I get this a lot, I specialize in homes that didn't sell for whatever reason the first time around. What was terrible about your last experience? I'm curious.
It was just, we did have a lot of people come see the home. It seemed like it was picking up a lot of traction, but we didn't get more than 2 offers, and they came in pretty low. So it was just, yeah. So it was just annoying. Having to have all those showings and just constantly moving, and we don't want to go through that again.
Okay, now George, let me ask you this: on all the people that didn't write offers on your property, did your agent reach out to them for feedback?
No, he not that he mentioned.
Okay, interesting. And when you had the home on the market, did your agent do any open houses?
Yeah, they had open houses at least every other week.
Okay, so, the biggest thing is there's homes in your neighborhood that are selling that are of lesser value, in my opinion, that don't look as good as your home for what you had your home listed for. And with you getting a lot of attention and then obviously not understanding any feedback as to why the homes didn't sell or why you're not getting. Oh, go ahead. Jordan said, let's pause and get some feedback.
Yeah.
Okay, so hey, man, George, I appreciate you throwing that out. I think that's somewhere we're all going, and I think Andre, you did about as good as you could do with the situation. I think George is kind of tough, but the problem is not selling the home. The problem is buying the home, and for most sellers, the problem is always buying the home, not selling the home. So let me take a stab at it. Not saying that I'm gonna do any better, but let's see if we can create some flow in the conversation because we lost some flow in that conversation. So, George. It seems like the only thing that's really holding you back from really making this move is being able to find your next home and locking in an interest rate that you're comfortable with. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Gotcha. Well, George, there's a lot of off-market inventory that most realtors aren't working either just due to lazy or just not being savvy. And so there's a lot of affordable options out there that you're not even aware of, and we're not seeing multiple offers on those properties. We're not seeing bidding wars. It makes it a lot more affordable and easier to jump into, and I could kind of provide you and give you access to that. Now, number two, George, I know the interest rate is super important to you, and I don't know if the last agent you were working with or the last lender you were working with was creating, creative financing options for you to get lower interest rates. But there is ways for you to obtain the interest rate you want, whether a 3-2-1 buy down or which is a lot more possible with these off-market opportunities, or even assumable loans. Some of these sellers have a 3%, have a 4%. And when there's no competition, we can negotiate more favorable terms for you, where maybe we could assume their loan and their interest rate, which would be a huge win for you in this scenario. Now, I know some of this, George, might be way over your head, but I'm here to kind of simplify this and break this down. And I was wondering if you had some more time to chat about this so we can see if we can't find you the right home. I could bring those access homes to you and see if we can't lock you in the interest rate you're looking for. That way, you don't have to purchase later where things are just going to be much more expensive. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Again, we're not looking to just make the sale right away. It really just depends on finding this other place and if we can get a good rate on it.
Yeah. And I hope, George, my approach doesn't come off as pushy or pressuring or anything. I really just want to solve your problem. And I know right now you guys are a little frustrated, but you're mentioning to me that if you found the right home at the right interest rate, that ideally that would probably make you and your family, happier at this time. So we don't have to rush into it. We don't have to jump into it. When I meet with you, George, there's going to be no obligation, no commitment, no cost. Let's just explore the options, see if it's possible for your family so you can make an educated decision. And if you think in a couple weeks that you want to pick back up on this and explore this more and take advantage, then we could talk about those opportunities. And if not, at least you're educated with what's currently going on, what's possible for your home, and all the possibilities, and you can make the very best decision for you and your family.
Okay, yeah, sounds good.
Awesome. Well, hey, George, I look forward to meeting you Saturday at 10 o'clock. So, hey, guys, not much difference, right? And who knows if I could even come through with what I mentioned for George, right? Who knows if I could even get him a lower interest rate? Who knows if I can create an off-market property for what he's looking for? And I just want to give a different perspective, guys. I just want to give a different perspective. Most sellers, they're going to be motivated by their purchase. Andre did a great job of answering the right questions. And I do think George was harder on Andre's call than he was with me. And the only reason why I paused this, Andre, is because we're going into the sale, and I just kind of wanted to distinguish those two things. But great job running through it, dealing with his rebuttals, and asking really great questions. And I think that was a good scenario, George. So I appreciate you bringing that to the table.
No, I think Andre did excellent. The only reason yours was shorter was because you were just right to the point. It was just interest rates, and that's why I was okay, that's pretty much my problem. Let's just get into it.
So one thing that I want to let you guys know that I do is there's so many times where I will turn and I'll just turn my head acting like that gives me a better vision. I always just turn my head to the side and I just stop everything that I'm doing. Almost my breathing. When I ask a really good question, in life and communication, I'm not this strong, right? Sometimes I want to talk before someone's finished. Sometimes I have a response before I fully hear them. I think that's a natural habit. But when I get on these expireds, I just stop. I stop breathing and I just listen, right? And all I heard, George, in that conversation, I heard a lot of things, but the only two things I heard was I can't find the home I'm looking for and the interest rates, right? I just have an uncanny knack of listening. That's the hot spot. That's the touch point. That's the pain point. That's the Band-Aid that I need to rip off. Right. And I think we all need to get like that. Right. George is talking a lot of bullshit in that call. Not you particular, George, the seller. Right.
Right.
He's talking a lot of bullshit. This, that. Oh, I'm frustrated. None of that shit matters. Right. We want to understand his emotions. But when I heard interest rates and I can't find the home, I'm okay, That's exactly what I need to focus on if I want him to get to take action. And I think that's a good lesson for everyone is focus on those pain points. Those are the only things that matter, and figure out how to fix George's pain points. Even if you can't really do that, figure out a way on the phone to make it sound like you can, because as you explore it, even if you don't think you can, you might be able to do this. And if you can't, you're going to sit down with George and you're going to let George know that his expectations can't be met, but here's what you can do. And even though you're not meeting George's expectations, he might realize that those expectations are unrealistic, and the game plan that you gave him is good enough for him to move forward. Andrea, I see you had a hand raised and also a question in the chat. Go ahead. Andrea, you there?
Yeah. Where do we find the off-market listings? Are they online in a special spot, or are they where are they?
Good question. You know what off-market access to these off-market properties are, Andrea?
Where?
We have a whole list of expired properties.
Oh, those
home sellers,
okay.
Home sellers that want, and like I said, I say that right to just let you know how simple it is. But just by, could you imagine if you told someone, hey, look, I have a list of expired properties, homes that didn't sell the first time that these sellers want to sell, and I'm going to give you access, versus, hey, I got exclusive off-market properties that most people aren't aware of.
Okay.
Right. It's just upselling that thing. And then if they tell you what they're looking for, like, hey, I'm looking for a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,500 square foot home in Manteca, we can go and we could search that criteria on our system, and we'll get a list of 4-bedroom, 3 homes within the last year that went on the market, didn't sell, that those sellers probably do want to sell. And if you called them with a buyer, that you'd probably double end it.
Okay, so then we're back basically to our Vulcan 7, I believe, is the expired. But
that's where we would get the data.
Right. So I thought there was something different. Okay.
Nope, just upselling the features that we have, and creating unique value propositions. So does anyone else? I mean, that was a really good one, George. Like I said, I really appreciate that. Andre, great job on that. That was a really interesting role play to kind of dissect, and I think it helped all of us, including me. Anyone else got anything else before we end this role play?
Yeah, just one more thing. How do you respond to someone saying, if they ask you, why should I choose you, or like, what makes you different?
You know what, George, that's a great question. You know what really makes me different is exactly what I'm doing on the phone with you right now, calling buyers and calling sellers and trying and making deals happen. And I have a long list of buyers. I have a long list of sellers. I have an exclusive network by doing just what I'm doing here and working extremely hard to get the job done, right? It's not about the bells and whistles. It's not about the shiny objects. It's someone who has the experience to do it, the consistency to do it, and is doing it day in and day out. And that's what I'm doing calling you right now. And all I'd like to do is earn the opportunity to maybe meet with you and try and earn your business. And if you think that my approach is the best approach to get your home sold for the quickest amount of time, the most money, then I would love to work with you. But George, after we meet, if that's not crystal clear for you and I'm not that guy, hey, no hard feelings at all. And it was just about 15, 20 minutes of your time. Andre, you got anything for that?
So, objection again, George. Why should I choose you? That was your objection?
Yeah.
You know, hey, that's a great question, George, but I can sit here and tell you every reason why you should choose me until I'm blue in the face. But I just want an opportunity to earn your business. And I know one thing is that I specialize in these homes that didn't sell for whatever reason. And my whole objective when I sit down with you is to help you understand why your home didn't sell, what we can do moving forward, what plans we can implement to make sure that doesn't happen again. And at the end of the day, you know, it's ultimately up to you on what you want to do. But I just want to give you the facts. I want to present you everything that you need to know. And ultimately, it's up to you. You know, I just want the opportunity to earn your business.
Does that help, George?
Yeah, that was great. Like on both ends, this is really good.
When you tell them, hey, I want the opportunity to earn your business, like, and you tell them, I can tell you whatever you want, but, you know, I want the opportunity to earn your business. I don't know. I feel like when I use that line with anybody, it's almost like, damn, like he wants to work for me. He wants to work to help me in anything, you know?
No, it's just, it comes off as very honest. Like you're not trying to sell anything. You're just being upfront and just real about it. Like, hey, like this is what I'm doing, and take it or leave it.
Yeah. So George, what I'd love to see, right, is what I'd love to see is that you work on the two that you gave us, right? What makes you different, and then the other one is, hey, I don't want to move forward because of interest rates and inventory. And next week, I'd love to see you hop on here and role play that too, right? That's where the magic is, right? I understand you're kind of new to this and you're asking questions, and I want you to get those responses. And you bring a lot of value to these role plays, a lot of value. A lot of things you're saying is things that agents are dealing with that are not stepping up and saying it. But I'll tell you what, where the real secret sauce is for you, where the real growth is if next week you can start to role play this. And it might not be perfect, and then the following week we'll role play it again. And then we want to get you, and we want to get everyone to the team, not singling you out. We want to get everyone that no matter what someone throws at you, you kind of just like smile like the Terminator and are like, hey, like I was hoping you would say that. Like you're like Tom Brady, Joe Montana, game-winning drive. Everyone's nervous, and you're like, this is exactly where I wanted to be. I've been practicing for this moment. You know what I mean? So keep working on those. Keeping those in your repertoire. If you need a recording of this, call Claire. And then next week, let's get you on a couple role plays, and I think you'll see a lot of growth from that.
Hell yeah, sounds good.
And I already see a lot of growth, so that's not a call out or anything, George. You're growing a lot,
I know,
and you're growing very, very fast, and I love to see it. And also, Andrea, like I said, these objection role plays too, right? Right now, we want to learn, right? We want to get comfortable. We want to get familiar. We want to learn what to say. We kind of want to see how this thing goes. But the real secret is coming in here, throwing yourself to the fire when there's 4 or 5, maybe even 10 individuals, and you're feeling those nerves and pressure. Because when you get on the phones and you have someone who's hot, I've seen George do it. I've seen myself do it. I've seen Andre do it. Like we're ready to book an appointment, but we get so nervous because we haven't been in that situation that maybe we throw ourselves off a little bit, right? And so we want to be assassins and ninjas, and that's the whole point of these role plays. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for hopping on here. I feel like we're all getting better. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. If you need anything from me, just let me know, and let's keep working, guys.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Take care.